to the Ruth and Cory Show.
I'm Ruth.
I'm Cory, and this is the Ruth and Cory Show. Nice. And then we'll go, wow. Just let that soak in for a minute. And we'll do another one. Three things that we want to talk about. We want to talk about the definition of a journey. We want to talk about the definition of an adventure. And we want to talk about what is the dark night of the soul. We're going to go through all three of those. I just want to start out by saying this. Terms in general, words, get bastardized over time, right? And so we really got to look back and see what's the real definition. What was the meaning behind the word from the get-go? A lot of us, when we talk about what we're doing spiritually, we talk about our spiritual journey.
Yeah.
Do you really know what you're saying when you say my spiritual journey? You have an idea. I mean, based on the movies you've seen or books you've read, you kind of have an idea of what a journey is, right?
Right.
But if you were to turn that and say, I'm on a spiritual adventure, what would be the difference? What do you think? Just off the top of your head, what do you think the difference is?
Well, I think a lot of people would have different ideas of what an adventure would be. Those who have watched certain movies or are more involved in the online community, the word adventure is mean like a happy-go-lucky unicorn and rainbows. This is fun. But if you look in some of the old-time books, like The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, those books, or The Adventures of the Island, Robinson Crusoe, there was some rough times in those adventures. I believe that society morphs it, but each word does carry a vibration, and we want to maintain the authenticity of that vibration. That's
a good point, a very good point. And it also turned that back on the word journey, right? So we've heard stories about journeys.
Journey to the center of the earth.
Journey to the center of the earth. Oh my gosh, right? So, one of them kind of gives you the sense of, this is going to be fun. Another one kind of gives you the sense of,
we're going to have to get there.
We're going to have to get there. Might be fun, might not be fun.
Yes.
So one I wanted to share this quote real quick. Some people attribute this quote to Bruce Lee, although there's really no evidence. But the quote is, don't speak negatively about yourself, even as a joke. Your body doesn't know the difference. Words are energy. They cast spells. That's why it's called spelling. Change the way you speak about yourself and you can change your life. So When we talk about words, words are energy. Think about that. If you use a word in the wrong context for the wrong reason, you're putting the wrong energy into what you're trying to get across.
Very
right?
good
Does that
point.
make sense?
Yes.
Let's talk then about the difference between an adventure and a journey.
Okay,
all right,
let's
you ready?
do it.
Here's the definition of an adventure. An undertaking or enterprise of a hazardous nature. An unusual or exciting experience. Now that's an adventure. Let's go over to journey. A band from the 1970s. Wait, nope, wrong journey. Sorry. That's before your time, isn't it?
Yeah. I was like,
journey. The act of traveling from one place to another, especially when involving a considerable distance. A distance to be traveled or time required for a trip. And number 3, a process or course likened to traveling, such as a series of trying experiences, a passage. So that's the definition of journey. So if we take those two and kind of contrast them, right? To me, adventure sounds like fun.
yes.
It sounds like some excitement.
Yes.
We're going to go have some fun on this adventure. I can't really say, I'm going to go have some fun on this journey.
There seems to be a lot more emphasis on effort in the word journey. Like there's so much more to do instead of to be. And the adventure represents an experience to me. This is something that we're going to experience and we're going to have to be in a state of being. But a journey here from the start, see, it felt boring. It felt going from point A to point B, almost like what's the shortest distance between 2 points, a straight line, math. And then you go from a destination, so it's where you want to be. So you're almost always in a state of, I don't have what I need. I'm not where I need to be.
Oh,
And
that's
so it's
really
like,
good.
it
Yeah.
gave me almost a hopeless feeling, like I'm not where I need to be. Can you resonate with that?
I do. Yeah, completely resonate with that. It makes a lot of sense. When you're using the terms adventure or journey in respect to your spirituality path that you're on, do you think that you're on a journey or do you think you're on an adventure?
Well, I used to feel that I was on a journey. I used to have that mindset, and I sometimes still do, where I have to get to be a certain person. I need to have my personality to be perfect. Or I need to be here in my life purpose. I need to have, all my life mapped out. And what I realized with me as I viewed it as a journey, it was more like a little bit depressing. Like, oh, when will I get there? I'm not who I really want to be. I resonate with the word journey because I've been there.
Nice. Nice. I like that. Yeah.
What I'm trying to experience is changing my mentality and mindset to an adventure. What do you resonate with, how we can change it to being more of an adventure?
Well, I think you really hit the nail on the head when you talked about it's a state of being. It's a mindset. I don't want to trudge through a whole bunch of crap to get from point A to point B.
No.
I don't want to do that. I want to have fun. I want to have excitement. So changing your mindset about what this path, this spiritual path is, I think is the key to it. Now we're all going to walk it. We're all going to be on it, right? We're all on a path. What kind of path do you want to be on though?
True. That's true. That's true. And I feel that a journey makes us think of going from A to B, getting to a certain destination. And it goes with the mindset of our traditions of we need to live a certain way so that we get to heaven.
Wow. Okay.
And that's been programmed. You need to do certain things so that you become, or you are fitting into the mold of your society, or you are successful, you're married, and so once you're married, that's a rite of passage. Once you graduate, and then you get your first car, and then you get married, and now you're considered with the adults, and then you buy your first house, and then if you're making a certain amount of money, you're successful.
I'm waiting to be considered an adult.
But to me, that's the traditional form of a journey of
Step by step.
Yes, and you have to fit into the criteria of what it means to be in that destination.
Okay. Yeah.
And everybody's going to have different destinations that they feel they have to get to. By the time I'm 80, I want to have so many grandkids, and I want to have a good retirement, and many people don't even reach what they truly want in life because they're trying to focus on what's so far ahead.
Yeah, that end state.
The end.
Trying to focus on that end state, which is another really good point to bring up in this definition, because as a soul, I have no end state. I've got things I need to accomplish maybe.
And learn and experience.
Right, and expand, but I don't have an end state.
No.
Right? I don't have to get from point A to point B on this path. Exactly, because we're part of source consciousness, who is always learning and growing, and as fractals of the divine, we keep experiencing and learning and growing. We go from our soul's journey. But I also believe, if I could add a little plug in here, we have been taught that reincarnation in the past 2,000 years maybe didn't exist. We haven't had that in our conscious awareness. So we've always been trapped in this mindset of you only have 70 years and you're going to make it either to heaven or to hell, and that's it for the rest of eternity. So it really bogged us down into this is a journey and you better get it right. I know I'm really harping on the journey, but I think a lot of you, tell us in the comments what you think. Do you resonate with having been there with that journey experience in that mindset? Yeah.
And I'm excited to talk about an adventure, because that's really where my soul seems to be going.
Go
Shall
for
we?
it. Yeah, talk about the adventure side.
Okay, so what I feel is morphing in my idea and my spiritual growth within adventure is that it's more from a place of being and experiencing. So there's still things I want to accomplish, but I've found that I don't accomplish anything until I first be into a state, a feeling, a vibration of the energy that I desire. So for example, let's say I want to be a YouTuber and I want to have videos. Then I need to watch YouTube videos that are like the ones that I'm doing. I need to practice YouTube videos. I need to create YouTube videos. I have to, and then I have to enjoy making YouTube videos. I could get bogged down with, I want 100,000 subscribers, or I could get, I'm just enjoying being a YouTuber.
Right.
And so that's how I take it out of an adventure of needing to reach a place, out of a journey, needing to reach a place, and making it an adventure of, okay, I gotta learn to set up my screen.
Right.
I gotta deal with the microphone and get my deck of cards and practice my makeup.
I don't have to do that.
It becomes an adventure because it's an experience.
And it can be exciting.
It can be exciting.
Yeah, and even a little nerve-wracking and dangerous.
And I'm curious about what you have to say to that, because in that definition again of an adventure, there was a word in there that really stuck out to me.
Okay, and what was that word?
I think it was hazardous.
Hazardous, yes.
Can you read that again?
An undertaking or enterprise of a hazardous nature. And then the third one is an unusual or exciting experience. So yes, an adventure can be hazardous, but you know what? I'm okay with that.
Well, what does hazardous mean?
Well, that's a good point. We could look up the definition of hazardous, but I'm assuming that the word hazardous here tends to be something that you'd want to avoid.
Yes, potentially dangerous, or potentially
dangerous. Yeah.
difficult.
Right.
Potentially difficult.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can resonate with that, because there are potentially difficult things in everything that we experience if we want to truly grow.
The hazardous portion, or the excitement portion of it, that really seals the emotional aspect of the event that you're experiencing. Right? That's what produces the emotion. So the higher the intensity of the excitement or the hazard, the more of an emotional, not scar, but impact. The more of an emotional impact it's going to have on you, because emotions are caused or created through experiencing events. That's where emotions come from.
Wow. And isn't that the crux of soul growth? Is not just living a mundane life, but actually experiencing emotional stimulation, you could say, that actually teaches your soul how to navigate. Could we call, if we want to get woo-woo, the fourth dimension? You know? Like, while we navigate the mental plane and we navigate the emotional plane. Because I believe you don't truly live. Oh! Look who we have here! Would you like to say something, honey?
Odin.
Oh,
hey,
is this Odin?
This is Odin. He's got a shaved butt.
Odin?
Odin and his shaved back.
Odin, you like these crystals, don't you? I wanted an adventure.
No, you can't. Odin, hey, you can't. I'm sorry, buddy. Am I going to have to clap?
Oh, my goodness.
Huh?
Oh, look at that face.
All right, Odin.
Here. Okay,
He's
there
gone.
we go.
Okay, where were we?
Yeah, I think I was saying that the emotional experience of experiencing things in life takes us from a mundane journey to an adventure, is actually adding in that emotion.
So adding the emotion in, or adding the event that creates the emotion?
Yes,
Okay.
the experience of the emotion.
Yeah, experiencing the emotion through the event. Right?
Yes.
Are we getting there?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And that's what I think a lot of people want with the spiritual life, is where We can go through our spiritual growth and we can go through some of the hard things we need to do. And we're going to talk about that here. So, what kind of hard things might we face on our adventure? But we really want to start having moments of enjoyment throughout the spiritual walk. And if we treat it like a journey, I have to get from here to here. And this could look different for different people. It could be, I just really want my intuition to kick in. How do I develop my intuition? Or how do I meditate more? Or how can I be more calm and gentle and peaceful in my personality? And many of these times, I think, is people are trying to get there when there are actual events we can do that can actually create in us the experience, and then it becomes an adventure.
Now I think I'll bring this I'll bring this back around full circle in saying this. I'm on an adventure, and during my adventure I have miniature journeys.
Okay, can you explain that?
Sure, because there are times during my adventure where, from a spiritual perspective, I do need to get to a certain place. But again, it goes back to, what's your mindset? Is it an arduous trudging through from point A to point B? Or are you still going to have an adventure on that mini journey?
I
Mindset.
like that.
Mindset. So you can actually combine the two. But I would say that overall, your mindset is going to determine whether you're on an adventure or on a journey. And I choose to be on an adventure.
Yes, yes, me too.
It's more fun.
It is more fun. I think an adventure brings in a feeling of anticipation and a little bit of unknown, where you're not exactly sure where this is going to go. But I believe that trusting the unknown and the adventure is actually some of the most exciting things we can actually do in life. Like, let's say you wanted to take a course to teach you how to do some grounding out in nature. They say, go for a hike or go for a long walk. You're like, I've never been out in the woods by myself, but I'm going to be on an adventure just because I want to learn that experience.
Right. Let's take our definition of adventure, and I want to read these lyrics from a song that I thought were pretty profound. Now we're going to bring in a new term here that we need to discuss called called the dark night of the soul. So what is the dark night of the soul? Do you have any thoughts off the top of your head about how you would explain what that is?
What I have experienced and actually heard people explain it, it will be different for different people, but it's a moment in your life where something foundational can be ripped out from underneath you, or a certain mindset is challenged so that it shocks you. Oftentimes, I think it comes with a little bit of a shock. Experiences I've known in my past and with others is it could be a best friend betraying you. It could be certain people in your community turning against you. It could be an illness that you go through. It could be a nervous breakdown. It could be a loss of a job. What are your thoughts?
Could be something that you've believed to be true all your life. All of a sudden you realize it's not true. It's an adjustment period. It's not good or bad. It just is. But it can seem dark. And it seems like there's no light. You really, like Ruth said, you've had your foundation shaken. Now there's not just, you're not going to just go through, everyone's going to go through a dark night of the soul some way or another, and you're going to go through multiple. It's not going to be just one. Let's listen to these lyrics real quick. It says, so the long dark night of the soul, this rite of passage is by nature uncertain, dangerous, and irresistible. It's a time of great purification, an intense purging of dense frequencies. Try not to judge what's happening. Cultivate the art of being okay with not knowing.
Wow.
That sounds like an adventure to me.
Yes, and that word in there, they explained it. It is uncertain, dangerous, and irresistible, meaning you really can't get out of it. You have to go through it.
And I would even say the term irresistible, to me, I can tell you just from my own experience with Dark Night of the Soul, once I walked into the concept that what I thought was true was no longer true, and as I'm sitting there just mind spinning, I cannot help but want to go forward. Now I need to go forward. I want to. It is irresistible.
There's no turning back. Like,
And
you're
you
going
don't
to go
want
through
to.
it.
You don't want to turn back.
So true.
I think that's the key right there, is that it draws you in, and it just intoxicates you with wanting to understand
The truth.
the truth,
Or
finding,
the current reality.
right, or why were you told this and it not being true, even if you went that direction with it. So that's what the dark night of the soul is. Like I said, I know on my adventure, I'm going to encounter several, and I already have encountered several dark nights of the soul. But I also want to point out too that it doesn't have to be nearly as foreboding as it sounds. It does have a very intense energy to its turn, but it doesn't have to be. It can be relatively mellow.
Yes, and I have, as an example that resonates with that, is like maybe a shift in a relationship. Where, you know, maybe you had a certain type of relationship with a person and you change, or they change, or you turn a little different, something inside of you change, you get a different mindset, different perspective, or even a different healing journey, and then your relationship with them starts changing, and you can grieve that, or you can just desire them to come with you where you're going and they won't, and it can be just a simple shift, and you have to take some time, a day, few days, a few weeks, a few months, just to process that feeling. That's just one example of a possible. So it's nothing major. You didn't lose a job, you didn't lose a loved one, but it was intense for you.
Right. Another example could be somebody who just can't operate unless they're in control, finds themselves in a situation where they have no control. Dark night of the soul, right there.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, you have a decision to make. Are you going to trudge through this on a journey to get to the other side? Or are you going to embrace this as an experience that's going to be for your highest and best good, and that you're going to learn something? Remember, like Ruth said, it's all up here. How are you going to react to it? What do you want this to be? Or what do you want the outcome to be?
And there was something else at the end of that phrase. Can you share where that song is from?
I'll find it. Hold on.
We are at a crucial moment in the evolution of our species. Peristalsis has begun, and we are being driven inexorably by forces beyond our behest or control. The long, dark night of the soul. This rite of passage is by nature uncertain, dangerous, and irresistible. It is a time of great purification, an intense purging of dense frequencies. Try not to judge what is happening. Cultivate the art of being okay with not knowing. Trust. Trust.
That's enough. I could have let it keep going. I
Beautiful.
love that one. So it is a song by the name of Eternal Horizons. The name of the album is Temple Step Project, and it's by a artist by the name of Porangui, Porangui.
Perfect.
Awesome.
So there was something though in the lyrics of the last part of that video.
So it says, cultivate the art of being okay with not knowing, and then the next word is trust, and it says that twice, trust.
So let's talk about the art of not knowing and how that fits into an adventure, because I don't see that in a journey. I don't see not knowing a whole lot in a journey. In a journey, you're supposed to be prepared. You're supposed to know, you're supposed to have a map. You're supposed to have all your equipment. You're supposed to be prepared for the elements and the weather. You're supposed to have your car packed with snacks. You know, a journey. You have everything laid out. But the art of not knowing, to me, screams adventure, because you could have a backpack of what you think you need, and then get out there and realize, oh, this isn't going to work in this situation. I need to improvise.
Mm-hmm. Or heading out on that same trip without your car and without your backpack.
Right.
That would be an adventure compared to a journey.
Now, what can we trust then? Because it says trust.
Yeah.
What is it that we can truly trust when we go on to an adventure, when we make certain decisions after the dark night of the soul? Okay, let's say we go through a dark night of soul, our mindset changes in some major way, changes in our life start happening, and then we're not exactly sure where these changes are going to take us, right? Trust the unknown. What can we trust in those?
Oh man, then you're gonna.
Is
really,
that not the $1 million question we're all
isn't it?
trying to figure? What do we trust? How can we trust when we don't
what
know?
do you trust, and how do you trust in the unknown? So this brings us to another term that we can start investigating called ego. All right. Now we all have an ego, and God bless the ego. I mean, I don't want to live without the ego, to be honest with you. The ego is responsible for keeping you safe.
True.
But the ego's concept of keeping you safe is keeping you in what's familiar. So why do some people go back to bad situations? It's because it's what they're familiar with, and they fear the unknown. The ego will always take you back to the known.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important to step out on an adventure into the unknown, because in the unknown is where you are going to develop the trust that you need in a couple of things. A couple of things which are all one. First of all, you're going to develop the trust that you need in yourself. You are unlimited. You are fully capable of accomplishing anything you want to accomplish, period. Why is that? Because you are creation. You are a fractal of God. You have all the abilities that you would ever need to accomplish anything you want to accomplish. So, going through the dark night of the soul, stepping out into the unknown is where you develop trust.
Yes, and I really like the way you said in yourself. And it goes back to the mantra of this channel, which is connecting to our inner light. We actually have to stop relying on our ego, relying on the programming, the traditions, the social norms that have kept us safe. And then we actually have to begin trusting our intuition, trusting our inner guidance. That can be scary.
It can be.
You know, if we're not used to...
That can be an adventure.
Yes, and it feels hazardous because you're saying I'm doing something where I could continue with my old programming, or I can continue on where my heart and my soul path is leading me to explore some new experiences, but they're unfamiliar. And so trusting that you're going to be okay, because you can always turn to your inner light for guidance in whatever problem that comes up.
You have more assistance than you could ever begin to imagine.
Well, and then we can go into the assistance of our guides, into spirit, where you can trust that the information is going to flow to you right when you need it.
Yep.
That's major. That's major, knowing, okay, when I get to that place of, let's say you decided to move, you can no longer stay in your house, you feel devastated, you've been here for 30 years, and now you need to move. And like, I'm going to trust that the information is going to come to me as I need it to guide me to that right
That's
location.
right. Exactly. And your ego is going to say, oh, no. We're not going out there until we know all the details of how this is going to work out for our best. That's what the ego will do. The ego will keep you in the familiar and will prevent you then from ever going out and experiencing new stuff.
Right.
Like that. And going on an adventure.
Going on an adventure, yes. So I do feel that inner guidance is something we can trust, knowing that that's going to come. Like you said, the spirit guides, the assistance that we have, which is another adventure, because now we have to become more aware of who is our support system instead of what was our support system.
That's actually a really good point. So let's talk about that for a second. What was our support system? What did we used to lean on?
Well, if a foundation crumbles, that means our support system crumbled. So it might have been a simple mindset. It could have been a religious belief that you no longer believe. It could be a viewpoint of the world that you no longer believe. It could be a type of relationship. And so
A group of friends.
a group of friends. And so that was the foundation of what was becomes your support system, whatever it was. And it's what it was to you was your support system. So if it's a group of friends, their interaction with you was your support system. Now you're moving or you're leaving, you're going to have to develop a new support system. Whether it's other friends or yourself for the time being, or Mr. Odin here. Hey, and they show up in all kinds of different ways too.
They do. And ultimately bringing you to understand that you trust in yourself. You trust in what's in here.
Yes, and that actually becomes your new support system.
That's
and
your new support system.
I feel that in order to do an adventure, that can be the only true support system you truly have. Yeah. I do believe that.
Yeah, otherwise you'll fall back into ego.
You'll fall back into ego. You'll fall back into needing the familiar. You'll fall back in needing to know the map for the journey, where you need to be. And I just, yeah.
Agreed.
And, you know, there is a trust too in your soul path that when you are on an adventure, Creator, God, how you see it, the universe is actually going to support you. You are supported. When we're in the ego, we can kind of stay familiar because we feel if we step out, the universe, the stars and their courses are going to fight against me. And we really got to get out of that mindset of everything in life is going to go wrong. What do you think about that?
I think you need to get into the mindset of everything in life is going to happen for you, not to you. It is going to happen for you, not to you. The universe is conspiring to make you happy. Nice butt shot, Odin. Thank you.
Odin, lay down.
He's not going to lay down. He'll walk back and forth.
Lay down.
No.
Enjoy.
No. Not going to do it. He won't lay down.
Well.
Come on, buddy.
Odin, I love you. You're so beautiful. He loves the energy here.
He does.
You were saying everything conspires for you.
Oh, the universe is conspiring for your highest and best good by letting go. So another ancient text would say, let go and let God. Actually, I don't think an ancient text says that. I think that was just a term
We put in there,
coined by a religious faction.
Yeah.
Let go and let God. Well, there's some truth to that. Define God however you want. Let go and let the universe. Let go and let yourself. All three of those things mean the same thing.
Yes.
But the point is, let go.
Yeah.
And that means cutting the ego off, saying, no, we're not going to do the familiar this time. Instead of going to the right when we go into the grocery store, because everyone goes to the right when you go into the grocery store, we're going to go left. And we're going to see what happens.
Yes. Yeah, and you know, I've heard intuitive say, Cory, start reprogramming yourself. And the best way you can actually get yourself out of your ego, they say, is to do little things in your everyday life that shocks your programming. So instead of crossing your legs like this, cross them the other way.
If you're right-handed, brush your teeth left-handed.
Go literally do the grocery store backwards. And what it does is it like unlocks something inside of you where you have to create a different reality, which is the manifestation, the adventure, the growing, the soul growth. But when you go to the same job and you do the same work and you go to the same grocery store and you have that one or two friends and you never branch out, you really get into the programming. Yeah. And that's what locks
you never experience anything new. You're always experiencing the same thing. And that's your ego keeping you with
safe.
The familiar. Yes. Safe and in the familiar. Go out into the unknown. Do something totally off the charts for you. And just see how it starts to. And continue to do it. Start tomorrow. Start now. Go brush your teeth left-handed.
It's really hard to cross it differently here. I'm like, oh.
I can't even. All right.
Yeah, it's like, don't even try. You're like, okay.
Do I look comfortable?
No.
Okay, I'll go
And
back.
this will last about 5 more seconds.
All right.
But you get the point, and I believe the universe has a way of bringing us what we need at the moment to make us uncomfortable and to say, but it's all in our perspective of how we deal with that discomfort.
Right. That's a good point, though. How do you deal with the discomfort? How do you deal with it? Well, how do you deal with discomfort? When you're uncomfortable with something, how do you look at it? What do you do?
I think the first thing I've learned to do is, why am I feeling uncomfortable with this? And when I ask why, so it might be, I feel like, I really want to get a new job, or I'm tired of working in this job, and I'm thinking about working there, but no. So why am I uncomfortable with applying for a new job? Is there a fear there? So I ask myself, why am I feeling uncomfortable? Why does this scare me?
Right.
If we can be honest, some things scare us because they're really good. And sometimes, it's like, I really want this promotion, or I really want to work there, and then it goes to all the things of anything with ego. Well, you're not worthy, you need to stay safe, and you're safe here. Everybody at this job knows you. And so it's a long rabbit hole you could go down when you ask why.
Yep, absolutely.
But that's what I do when I start asking myself, okay, why am I feeling uncomfortable? And then the second thing I do is say, okay, what step could I take toward it that would be less uncomfortable, but still slightly uncomfortable? Like, let's try to compromise as we move through this dark night of the soul. For example, one of the dark night of the soul is I left a group of friends and community, and I moved to another state, and I had to develop a new community. I got a job with someone who was doing photography work, and somebody said to me, you need to be careful what kind of work you get, because you don't know that person. And it was just all fear-based. And I had to stop, and I had to say, this is my adventure. I feel good with this photography job. I'll listen to what they have to say, but I've got to start new friends. Right? And so you kind of like have to say, how can this be a safe step for me into a safe step where I can still feel safe, but it's still a step into the unknown.
Right. It doesn't, and this, by no means does this mean that you have to go do things that are unsafe. And that's not what I'm advocating whatsoever, by all means.
Right.
Do your due diligence. I don't think taking a leap of faith off of a building is a good idea. I would highly discourage
that.
Doing something like that, unless you had a safety net down below, you had a rope tied to you around your waist, and you were not going to impact the ground. All right, now that's doing your due diligence to step out into an adventure.
Yes.
You want to jump off a building? There's ways to do it.
Yes.
But that is an adventure that you'd have to prepare for. Yeah. Yeah. Nothing wrong with doing preparation. Nothing wrong with that at all.
It's just switching from that mindset of fear, I can't do it because it's unknown, to a mindset of, if I did step out into this unknown, how can I do it? By following my inner guidance.
Right. There you go.
And my intuition and my logic.
Let's check in with our higher selves and see what would our higher selves tell us to do? What would our angels have us do?
Yeah.
How can we best do this? How can we best learn from this? And that's your new support system.
And it becomes an adventure.
When
you do it that way.
That's right. Absolutely.
This was amazing, Cory.
Great conversation, Ruth. Anything else on this topic you think we need to cover?
No, I just want to share from the heart. I've been through several dark nights of the soul, had a lot of betrayal in my life, and everything is for a season. And if something leaves, I've had a lot of mindset changes, a lot of worldview changes, a lot of traditional changes. It is only for a season. So if you're going through a dark night of the soul, it too shall pass.
Yeah.
And if something clears out of the way or leaves your life, it's because something is coming in that's so much better.
It's a very good way of putting it. I love that.
You're just making space.
That's right.
Yes.
Clearing out, or what did it say? Purging dense frequencies you're getting rid of the things that no longer serve you. As you go through the dark night of the soul, mindset is key. I need to do this. This is good for me. This is going to help me. I'm going to be better after it's over. Now, how can I look at this in terms of an adventure?
Mm.
And how can I trust?
Mm.
Well, I think we covered it.
We did. Thank you, Cory.
Well, thank
what
you,
a
Ruth.
great discussion.
It was awesome.
Yes.
Really enjoyed it. Really
Yes.
enjoyed it.
And feel free to put into the comments what you feel is an adventure, a journey, or any experiences you've had with a dark night of the soul.
We'd love to hear from you, and we would really like to hear some topics that you'd be interested in having Ruth and I discuss, or maybe we can find somebody to interview on those topics. So by all means, please drop us a post, drop us a comment, let us know your thoughts, and let us know what you would like to hear us talk about.
Sounds great. Take us out, Cory.
I will ring us out.